My name is Emily, and for most of my life, I believed I was one of the lucky ones. I had something not everyone gets, a sister who was also my best friend. Lily was only 11 months older than me, which basically made us twins. We shared everything: toys, secrets, clothes, even a birthday party every year because our mom thought it was more efficient. I didn't care. I loved it. I loved her. When I broke my arm in fourth grade, Lily was the one who carried my backpack. When she failed her algebra quiz in seventh grade, I stayed up all night helping her study. We were inseparable. People at school called us the twins. We even had matching necklaces. Those cheesy best friend hearts that say BFRI and STNDS. We wore them every day. And even as we got older, things stayed mostly the same. Sure, we started becoming more different. I was quieter, bookish, more cautious. Lily was bold, flirty, the kind of girl who walked into a room and turned heads without trying. But we still talked every night, even if it was just about stupid things like TikToks or homework or what our mom made for dinner. So when I started dating Alex, it felt natural to introduce him to Lily. Alex wasn't like the guys Lily usually went for. He was thoughtful, a little awkward, always had his nose in a psychology book. He remembered my coffee order after our first date and wrote it down in his notes app just in case. He listened, really listened. He told me my mind was beautiful. And when I brought him home for the first time, Lily smiled and said, "Not bad, Em." She even winked. I took that as approval. Back then, I thought we were all happy. Me, Lily, Alex. We'd hang out in my room, all three of us watching Netflix. Sometimes Lily would roast Alex an outfit or tease him about his curly hair, and he'd laugh and play along. It was fun. It felt like I had both the people I loved the most in one place. Safe, comfortable, real. But what I didn't realize was that I wasn't watching a friendship blossom. I was watching my life slowly being stolen. There were small things at first. Things you'd never notice unless you were looking for them. The way Lily would touch his arm when she laughed. How Alex started texting slower when I was around. How they'd both go quiet when I walked into the room and then act like nothing happened. I ignored it. Of course I did. Because Lily would never do that to me. Right? Right? One night, I walked into the kitchen to grab my charger. I wasn't trying to snoop, I swear, but I caught a glimpse of Lily's phone. She was smiling down at it like she just won the lottery. When she saw me, she flinched and locked the screen. It was a flash of Alex's name. Just a glimpse. But it was enough. Everything okay? I asked, trying to sound casual. She shrugged. Yeah, just texting Maddie. She's going through it with Ben again. I nodded. I pretended to believe her. But my stomach twisted. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling. The same ones Lily helped me stick up when we were 9. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe both of them. But something had shifted. And once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. The next day, I had opened her iPad. She always left it on the kitchen counter unlocked. We never kept secrets. Until now. I wish I hadn't looked. I wish I could unsee it. But I did. And what I found broke me. I don't know what I expected. Maybe a meme. Maybe some inside joke between Lily and her friends. Something innocent. Something that would make me feel ashamed for ever doubting her. But it wasn't a meme. It was a message from Alex. Alex, I can't stop thinking about last night. Lily saying I shouldn't have come over, but I couldn't help myself. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered over the messages, not scrolling, just frozen. My body felt numb. Like I'd stepped out of my skin. They kept texting. And they didn't even try to hide it. Lily, she has no idea though. Alex, I feel bad. But not that bad. The words burned. Each one felt like a knife. Small, sharp, deliberate. And I just sat there, on the cold kitchen floor, reading them again and again. Over and over. Trying to convince myself I misunderstood. But there was no misunderstanding. It wasn't a one-time mistake. It wasn't a drunken kiss or a stupid accident. It had been going on for weeks. Since before our anniversary. Since before Lily had accidentally knocked on my door while Alex was over and asked if we wanted popcorn. That night, I fell asleep thinking she was the best sister in the world. Turns out, she was sneaking into the living room with him the moment I dozed off. The worst part? They laughed about me. Lily, you really told her you were working late? She's so many that hurts. Alex, she's sweet, but it's different with you. I didn't cry. Not right away. I just sat there staring, shaking, feeling like my insides had turned to glass and someone had taken a hammer to them. How do you process something like that? I closed the iPad slowly, wiped my fingerprints off the screen. Put it back where I found it. Then I walked to my room like nothing happened. I lay in bed, pulled the covers over my head, and stared into the dark. My mind ran wild, remembering every little thing I'd ignored. The way Lily had started borrowing my perfume. The study nights when Alex suddenly canceled on me, but still sent a heart emoji. That weird energy at dinner when we all sat at the table and no one could meet my eyes. I should have known. I did know. Somewhere deep down. But I didn't want to believe it. Because if you believe that kind of betrayal is possible, you lose something. Something soft inside you. Something that doesn't come back. At school the next day, I didn't talk to anyone. Not even my best friend, Megan. I couldn't. How do you say it out loud? My sister is sleeping with my boyfriend. It sounded like some trashy soap opera. Not real life. Not my life. But it was. And I had to decide what to do about it. That night, I watched them. Alex texted me, "Hey, can I swing by later? I miss you." I wanted to throw my phone, but instead I said, "Sure, come at 7. Then I asked Lily if she wanted to watch a movie with me. She hesitated for half a second, then said, "Yeah, why not?" She smiled that same smile I'd seen since we were 5, but now it looked like a mask. We sat on the couch. I picked a horror movie, not because I wanted to watch it, but because I didn't want to talk. At 7:04, the doorbell rang. "Must be Alex," I said, standing up like everything was normal. Lily's eyes flicked to her phone, a brief glance, but I saw it, and something in me clicked. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to make them both watch me smile, right before I shattered everything. I opened the door like I always did. Alex stood there with that crooked half-smile he always used when he wanted something. He leaned in to kiss me, but I turned my face slightly. He got my cheek. "Everything okay?" he asked. I nodded. "Yeah." "Come in." He followed me to the living room, where Lily was already curled up on the couch, fake laughing at something on her phone. I saw the flicker of something in his face when he saw her. A twitch of recognition, maybe guilt, maybe something worse. But he covered it. I sat between them. It was a tight fit. Lily gave me a look like, "Really? Here." Alex cleared his throat. "So, what are we watching?" I shrugged. "Doesn't matter. I just wanted to talk." And the room fell still. The air changed. I could feel them both tense. Alex tried to chuckle. "Oh, that sounds serious." I smiled. "It is." I reached under the coffee table and pulled out a small white envelope. It had both of their names written on it, in my handwriting. I handed it to Alex first. He looked confused. "What is this?" "Read it." He opened the flap and slid out a stack of printed screenshots. Lily froze. Alex's eyes moved fast, scanning the texts. The color drained from his face. Then he looked at me, wide-eyed, caught. You went through her phone, he said. Lily sat up. "You what?" "That's messed up, Emily." I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was pathetic. "Wow," I said. "That's what you're mad about." Lily stood up now. "You invaded my privacy." I stood too. "You invaded my life." Alex tried to step between us. "Okay, everyone just calm down." "Don't," I snapped. "You don't get to play peacemaker." His mouth opened, but nothing came out. Lily crossed her arms. "It's not what you think." I looked her dead in the eye, then explained what I read, word for word. "Go ahead." Silence. She looked at the floor. Alex sighed. "Look, we didn't mean for it to happen." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, so it just happened for 3 weeks? Behind my back? Under my roof?" Lily's voice cracked. "It was a mistake." "No," I said coldly. "It was a choice. Over and over." She opened her mouth again, but I stopped her with one sentence. "Mom knows." Her face went white. Alex blinked. "Wait, what?" I pulled out my phone and played the voice recording I made that morning. Me reading the text aloud, my voice shaking. Then silence. And Mom saying, "Oh my God." Alex looked like he'd been punched. "You told your mom?" Lily hissed. I nodded. "And guess what? She's not on your side this time." Alex tried to regain control. "Okay, fine. You caught us. You win. Happy." "Win?" I repeated. "You think this is a game?" He shrugged. "You clearly planned this little performance." "Damn right I did." I walked to the hallway and picked up the duffel bag I'd packed. Then I turned to them. "I'm not going to scream or cry or beg either of you to stay." They watched me like they didn't recognize me anymore. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "I'm leaving. You two can enjoy each other, if that's even what you want, but don't call me. Don't text. Don't show up at school pretending nothing happened." Lily's voice cracked. Where are you going? To Megan's, then to Dad's. Anywhere but here. She stepped toward me. Emily, wait, please. No. Just one word. Firm. Final. I turned to Alex. And you? He straightened, as if bracing for it. I smirked. You should probably delete my Netflix password, and my Spotify, and maybe grow a soul. I walked out without another word. I didn't look back. And for the first time in weeks, I could finally breathe. For a few days, things were quiet. I stayed at Megan's house, sleeping on a mattress in her room while she tried to cheer me up with snacks and old movies. She didn't even say, I told you so, even though she probably could have. Megan had never liked Alex. She said he smiled too much without his eyes. I always thought she was being dramatic. Turns out she was just being observant. I didn't block Lily. I could have, but I didn't. I wanted her to see me living without her. Without them. And at first, she was silent. No messages, no calls. Not even a passive-aggressive Instagram story. But 5 days after I left, she texted, Lily, I'm sorry. Can we talk? I stared at the screen. Then I turned the phone over and ignored it. An hour later, another one. Lily, I miss you. I messed up. Please don't throw away everything. Everything. She threw everything away the moment she climbed into bed with him. Still, I didn't respond. She called 3 times that night. I didn't answer. The next day, Megan and I were walking into school when she stopped dead in her tracks. Did you see this? She showed me her phone. It was Lily's new Instagram post, a picture of her and Alex, together, smiling, laughing, holding hands. The caption, sometimes things fall apart so better things can fall together. I couldn't believe it. 5 days ago, she begged me to forgive her. Now she was publicly posting like we were all characters in her romantic drama. She didn't, I whispered. But she did. And it got worse. Because in the comments, Lily. For the record, nothing happened until they were basically done anyway. Some random girl, didn't she catch you two together? Lily, not really. She just overreacted like always. Classic Emily. My blood ran cold. Overreacted? I had proof, screenshots, dates, times. She was rewriting the story, turning herself into the misunderstood sister and me into the jealous, dramatic girl who couldn't handle it. She wasn't just trying to move on. She was trying to erase what she did. I should have walked away. I should have just ignored it. But I couldn't. Because this wasn't just about a guy. This was about my name, my reputation, my truth. So I posted. It wasn't anything explosive. Just a simple Instagram story. A picture of the envelope I gave Alex, the one with the screenshots inside. Caption. I don't usually do this, but sometimes silence is mistaken for guilt. That was it. I didn't tag her. I didn't write a name. But people knew. They always know. The story got shared. Fast. People messaged me things like, I had no idea she was like that. You deserve better. Proud of you for standing up. But one message stood out. It was from someone I hadn't talked to in over a year. Her name was Chloe. She used to date Alex, briefly, back when we were just friends. We weren't close, but she wrote, Chloe, hey. I know this is random, but I believe you. Alex did the same thing to me. Just thought you should know. I stared at the message. Did the same thing? A chill ran down my spine. Later that night, I texted Chloe. We met up the next day after school. She told me everything. How Alex had love bombed her. Made her feel special. Safe. Then suddenly grew distant, secretive. Then, like a switch, he was seeing someone else. She even showed me his messages to her. Same tone, same phrases. You're different. I'd never felt this way before. I just need time. It was like he had a script. He didn't just cheat. He cycled girls, one after another. Always keeping the new one close while still tying up the old one gently. Lily wasn't an exception. She was the next, and I knew she would eventually become the previous two. I should have felt vindicated. But honestly, I just felt sad. Sad that I ever thought either of them were worth the love I gave. Sad that Lily couldn't see through him. Sad that my life had turned into this mess. But I also felt something else. Strong, because even though they broke me, I was starting to rebuild. Without them. It was raining the night she showed up. I remember that clearly, the kind of soft rain that taps on the windows like a quiet knock. Megan and I were sitting in her room, binge-watching some stupid teen drama where everyone cheats on everyone and nobody ever says what they mean. I just laughed and said, at least my life isn't that messy anymore. And then the doorbell rang. Megan paused the show and glanced at me, expecting someone. I shook my head, but in my chest, something twisted. I knew. Megan's mom answered. A few seconds later, she knocked on the bedroom door. Emily, there's someone here for you. When I came down the stairs, I saw her. Lily, standing in the hallway, soaked to the bone, mascara smudged, hair clinging to her cheeks, eyes red, just like every crying girl in every movie. Except this time, the scene was real. Can we talk? She whispered. I didn't say anything, just stared. She looked smaller somehow, not physically, but emotionally, like someone had popped the bubble she lived in. I didn't know where else to go, she said. Mom won't talk to me, and Alex, he. I held up a hand. I don't want to hear about Alex. Her lips trembled. Tears welled again. I know I hurt you, she said, but I didn't think you hate me. I don't hate you. She blinked. That clearly caught her off guard. I just don't trust you anymore, and maybe I never will. She looked down at her hands. They were shaking. I made a mistake. You made a series of mistakes, I corrected. And when you had the chance to own them, you posted about how I overreacted. I was scared. So you lied. I didn't want people to think I was a horrible person. I looked her straight in the eye. Then maybe you shouldn't have done horrible things. There was a long silence. She sniffled, wiped her face with her sleeve. She looked exactly like the girl I grew up with, the one I shared bunk beds with, the one who taught me how to braid my hair, the one who held my hand at Dad's funeral. But she also looked like the girl who laughed about me behind my back, who touched my boyfriend's arm while telling me he wasn't even her type, who turned me into a villain so she could play victim online. You chose him over me, I said softly. Her voice cracked. I didn't mean to, but you did. I stepped aside and let her into the living room. She sat on the edge of the couch like she didn't belong anymore. Maybe she didn't. I'm not here to fight, she said. I miss you. I wanted those words to mean something. I really did. But they sounded like an echo from a past life, a version of us that didn't exist anymore. You miss the old me, I said. The one who would have hugged you and said it's okay. The one who would have pretended everything was fine. She looked down. I'm not that girl anymore, I said. And I wasn't. We sat in silence for a while. Then she whispered he dumped me. I didn't say anything. She laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. He said I was too clingy, that it wasn't fun anymore. I shrugged. Sounds familiar. She looked at me like she wanted comfort, like maybe we could cry about it together like old times. But I didn't know her that anymore. I guess I got what I deserved, she said quietly. I stood up, not in anger, in peace. No, you got what you chose. I walked to the door and opened it. The rain had stopped. She stood slowly, walked past me, then turned on the porch. Will you ever forgive me? She asked. I looked at her, really looked. And I said, maybe one day, but not today. Then I closed the door. I went back to school, got back into my routine, started to feel normal again. Not healed, exactly, but functional. And that was a start. Megan and I were closer than ever. I focused on my art again, applied for summer programs, even made a vision board like one of those clean girl TikToks she forced me to try. My therapist said I was doing well. She has no more power over you, she said. You've taken your story back. I believed her. Until the day I didn't. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was in the school library finishing a paper when Megan burst in. She wasn't even trying to be quiet, which for a library was basically a crime. Emily, she said, her voice low and urgent. You need to see this. She turned her phone toward me. It was a video on YouTube, posted by someone we both knew, a popular girl in our school who ran a gossip channel full of anonymous stories and drama breakdowns. The title? Sister of his sister. The real story behind the boyfriend scandal. I felt my stomach drop. We clicked. And there she was. Lily, not just mentioned. On camera, giving a full interview. Hair done, makeup perfect, the picture of poise. I didn't want to say anything, she began, but Emily has made it really hard to stay silent. My jaw clenched. She's been painting me as this villain, but what no one knows is she and Alex weren't doing well. She cried to me all the time about how distant he was, how she thought he liked someone else. So yes, I got close to him, but not to betray her. I was worried. Megan looked like she was going through the phone across the room. She's lying, she hissed. I nodded slowly, but I couldn't speak. Lily kept going. She found messages, sure, but they were taken out of context. She was already looking for a reason to blow things up. Honestly, I think Emily liked the attention, the drama. She always had this need to be the victim. That was it. That was the line. I stood up. I couldn't sit still anymore. It was one thing to hurt me in private, another to rewrite the story again. But to go public with it, to smile while telling the world I was unstable, that was war. And the worst part, the comments. Some people believed her. While I knew there was more to it. Emily seems like the jealous type father. Lily is so brave for speaking up. Girls always turn on each other some. I wanted to scream. Megan followed me out of the library. "Are you okay?" she asked. I shook my head. "No. What are you gonna do?" And I told her the truth. I don't know, because part of me wants to clap back. Expose everything. Show the DMs, the screenshots, the pattern. But part of me, I trailed off. She waited. Part of me is just so tired. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the ways Lily kept finding new ways to stay relevant in my story, even after I tried to walk away. This wasn't about Alex anymore. It wasn't even about what happened between us. It was about control, about her needing to be the one people sided with, about her never being the bad guy. I thought back to our childhood, how she'd lie and then cry when caught, how she always got away with it because she was louder, prettier, more confident, and how I always just let her. But not this time. The next morning, I posted something. Just a black screen with white text. People will lie about you with full confidence. Stay quiet if you want. Speak if you must. But don't forget, truth doesn't need approval. I didn't mention names. I didn't link to her video. But within hours, the views on her video started turning. More people asked for the other side. Old classmates DM'd me saying they always thought Lily was a bit much. Even Chloe posted a cryptic story. Funny how patterns repeat themselves. I didn't need to defend myself, because people were starting to connect the dots without me. And Lily? She finally started to lose the narrative. I wasn't looking for anyone. Honestly, I didn't think I could even like anyone again. Not in that way. After everything with Alex, I told myself I was done. Love was messy. People were selfish. And I wasn't going to let anyone back in just to watch them leave. So when it happened, it caught me off guard. His name was Ryan. We met at a weekend art workshop. One Megan dragged me to because, and I quote, "Your brain needs more paint and less drama." I was half listening to the instructor, half thinking about whether I wanted to drop out of social media altogether when someone sat next to me. He was tall, soft-spoken, and asked if he could borrow a pencil. I handed him mine without really looking. But later, when we partnered for a sketch exercise, I noticed the way he looked at people, like he was really seeing them, not just scanning. He didn't flirt. He didn't comment on how I looked. He asked about my favorite medium, my favorite artist, what I liked to draw when no one was watching. And for the first time in months, I felt like I was more than just the girl who got cheated on. Over the next few weeks, we kept talking. No pressure. No late-night texts with hidden motives. Just real conversations. He was kind. Not performative kind. Quiet kind. The kind that waits for you to finish your sentence. The kind that doesn't make jokes at your expense to make others laugh. The kind that remembers small things like that I hated strawberries or that I always wore my necklace on test days for luck. I found myself smiling again. Not because I was trying to prove something, but because it felt good and terrifying. One day, after class, we were sitting on a bench outside the school, sipping iced coffee. I told him everything. Not the whole soap opera, but enough. About Alex. About Lily. About how it felt to lose both a boyfriend and a sister in 1 week. I expected him to shift uncomfortably, to change the subject, to say that's crazy, and then pretend it never came up. Instead, he just nodded slowly. "That sounds awful," he said. "But you seem like someone who knows exactly who she is now." I looked at him, surprised. No one said that to me before. He smiled. Then they weren't paying attention. And that's when I realized I wasn't afraid of love. I was afraid of losing myself again inside someone else. But Ryan didn't want to consume me. He just wanted to know me. And that made all the difference. Of course, Lily noticed. She didn't say anything directly, but I saw the views on my stories. I saw her name pop up again. I saw the occasional vague tweet from her account, little jabs that could have been about anyone, but I knew they weren't. She hated not being the main character anymore. And maybe part of her always would. But I wasn't writing for her anymore. This was my story now, and I was finally turning the page. It started with a group text. "Mom, family dinner this Friday. No excuses. Dad's making lasagna." I stared at the screen. Family dinner. 2 words that used to mean comfort, warm bread, laughter. Now they just felt tense, like a reunion I hadn't signed up for. I hadn't seen Lily since the night she showed up at Megan's house. We hadn't spoken either, but I knew she'd be there. Because she never misses lasagna. I told myself I was strong enough, that it was just one meal, that I could sit across from her and be polite, mature, civil. I even practiced responses in the mirror. I'm doing fine, thanks. College applications, yep, all submitted. No, I'd rather not talk about that. But nothing prepared me for the way she looked at me when I walked in the door. Not angry, not sad. Smug. Like she still thought she had something I wanted. She was already sitting at the table, laughing with Dad, pouring sparkling water like she lived in a shampoo commercial. She looked up and said, "Emily," cute top. Fake smile. Empty tone. I nodded. Thanks. Mom gave me a quick hug. Dad ruffled my hair like I was 5 again. We sat down. Ryan wasn't there. I hadn't invited him. This wasn't the kind of dinner you bring someone to. This was cleanup. Or so I thought. It started off normal. Polite chatter. Dad's usual bad jokes. Mom complimenting Lily's new internship, something vague about digital marketing that I'm 90% sure just means scrolling Instagram for money. Then Mom turned to me. "And what about you, Em? Still painting?" I nodded. "Yeah. Actually, I got into a summer program in Boston." Mom lit up. "That's amazing." Lily smiled. "Wow, didn't know you were still doing that." Her words were innocent enough, but her eyes, full of bite. I met her gaze. Didn't flinch. It's easy to focus when people aren't stealing your boyfriend. Silence. Dad choked slightly on his wine. Mom's eyes darted between us. "Girls," she warned. But I was done pretending. Lily set her fork down. I said I was sorry. I laughed. "No, you said you were sorry. Then you went on YouTube and told the world I was unstable." "I never said your name." "Lily, I have eyes. And ears." She rolled hers. "Okay, fine. I made a mistake. But you're not exactly innocent either." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, please. Enlighten me." She leaned forward. "You made people hate me. You weaponized the truth." I blinked, then laughed. "You cheated on your sister, lied about it, rewrote the story, and I made people hate you." Mom tried to step in again. "Can we please just?" "No," I said firmly. "We always do this. We brush it off. We move on without healing. That's why nothing ever changes." Dad looked like he wanted to sink into the carpet, but I didn't stop. "Lily, I'm not mad because you hurt me. I'm mad because you never cared if you did." And that was the truth. She didn't cry when I found out. She cried when she got caught. She didn't apologize because she regretted it. She apologized because it was inconvenient. Lily stared at her plate. No comeback this time. Mom sat back in her chair looking exhausted. "I just wanted one night," she whispered. "One night without drama." I turned to her. "I get that, but pretending we're fine doesn't make it true." Another silence. But this one felt different. Not tense. Not angry. Heavy. Honest. After dinner, I helped clean up. Lily stayed behind in the dining room, scrolling on her phone like nothing happened. Mom came up behind me at the sink. "I'm proud of you," she said softly. I glanced at her. "For what?" "For speaking your truth. For not letting her silence it." I swallowed hard. Sometimes I feel like I'm the villain for not forgiving her. Mom shook her head. "No, the villain is the one who thinks forgiveness is owed, not earned." Later that night, I got a text from Lily. "Lily, that was low, even for you." I stared at it, then blocked her. No words, no reaction. Just done. People think healing looks like a movie montage. Crying, journaling, getting a haircut, laughing with friends. Then suddenly, boom, you're whole again. But it's not like that. At least not for me. Some days I still woke up angry. Other days I miss who Lily used to be so much it hurt to breathe. And sometimes, when I pass couples in the hallway, holding hands, whispering secrets, I feel this dull ache in my chest, like a bruise I'd forgotten was there. But I was healing. Slowly. Quietly. In ways no one could post about. I stopped checking her socials. Not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much. Every time I saw her face, it dragged me back to a place I was trying to leave behind. So I chose peace. I started spending more time with people who didn't know the whole story, who didn't look at me like the girl who got betrayed, but just Emily. I painted more. I walked more. I read books without annotating them. I danced alone in my room. I said no without apologizing. And I said yes to things that scared me, like submitting my portfolio, like going on a second date with Ryan, like looking in the mirror and liking who I saw, not because of how I looked, but because of how far I'd come. One night, Megan and I sat on the roof of her garage eating cereal from plastic cups. It was freezing, but the stars were out, and we needed that. She glanced at me and said, "You seem lighter." I smiled. "I feel lighter. Not done, though." "No," I said, "but getting there." She nodded. "Good. You deserve soft things again." That line stayed with me. You deserve soft things again. Because for so long, everything had been sharp. The betrayal, the gossip, the fake apologies, the tension at home. But now, things were quieter. Not perfect, but safe. I started to dream again. About the future. Not just escaping the past, but building something new. On my own terms. Boston, art school. Late nights in studios with paint on my hands and no one in my head but me. A tiny apartment with books stacked everywhere. Maybe a cat named something weird like Fig or Laundry. Maybe Ryan. Maybe not. But definitely me. Strong. Stubborn. Soft. Whole. I still don't talk to Lily. I don't know if I ever will again. Maybe we'll run into each other one day. Maybe she'll say something. Maybe I'll smile and nod and walk away. Or maybe we'll both just keep walking. And that's okay. Because not every story needs a reunion. Some just need closure. And I had mine. Not because she gave it to me, but because I found it anyway. I used to think family meant forever. That blood was unbreakable. That no matter how messy things got, siblings would always find their way back to each other. But now I know better. Family isn't just about DNA. It's about respect. It's about boundaries. It's about choosing each other again and again, even when it's hard. And sometimes, family chooses not to. And that's not your failure. It's just your reality. Lily and I were raised in the same house. We shared bunk beds, shared secrets, shared parents, shared holidays. But somewhere along the way, we stopped sharing values. And that's not something you can fix with lasagna and fake smiles. People still ask me about her. "Do you guys talk? Do you think you'll ever make up? What if she changes?" And I just smile now, because I don't owe anyone my story anymore. And I don't need to explain the peace I fought for. If she ever truly apologizes, not with words, but with growth, I'll listen. But I'm not holding space for someone who only shows up when she's losing. I still think about her sometimes, in small ways, when I see old pictures, when I smell the shampoo she always used, when I hear a song we both loved. There's no hate left, just distance. And that's okay. Not every love story is romantic. Some of the deepest heartbreaks come from family, but they can also be the ones that teach you who you really are. The girl I was at the beginning of this story, she would have kept the peace at any cost. She would have said it's okay even when it wasn't. She would have shrunk herself to keep others comfortable. Not anymore. Now I speak up. Now I walk away when I need to. Now I protect my peace like it's sacred. Because it is. This isn't a story about revenge, or redemption, or even resolution. This is a story about becoming, about turning pain into power, about building a life so full of love and truth that there's no room left for poison. And if that means losing people along the way, then let them go. You can't choose your family, but you can choose who you become in spite of them, and you can choose your future. And mine, it's just beginning.